This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On Air.
Welcome to My Business Stars, a podcast series featuring conversations with disabled business owners telling their business stories. Hosted by the Disability Business Network. Kia ora, I'm that blind woman Julie Woods from the Disability Business Network, host of the My Business Stars podcast. And today we have with us Dr. Chandra Harrison from Access Advisors, the Managing Director, in fact, of Access Advisors, zooming in from Christchurch. So welcome, Chandra.
Thank you very much, Julia. It's lovely to be invited along.
Well, it's lovely to have you here. Let's start by telling us a little bit about your business.
Okay, so I run a digital accessibility consultancy, and we help organisations around the motu to make their websites and apps and software and so on more accessible to people who have access needs. So we might provide them with a bit of advice about how to make the website easier for screen readers to use. And we work primarily with large corporates, government, and small non-for-profits who know that it's a good thing to make their websites easier for people to use.
And what got you into this?
Well, it's an interesting story, but I'll try and cut it short. I actually did my PhD in human-computer interaction. So looking at the psychology of, the human interface, I suppose, and how to make websites easier for everybody to use. But while I was working on my PhD and doing my master's degree, I was doing a lot of work with people who were blind or low vision. And what I realised was actually I really enjoyed working with these people, and I could see that I could make a difference. And so I followed that path.
Of accessibility.
Yeah, so when I came back to of digital accessibility, so after I finished my PhD, I started working in a digital agency in London, where they did reviews of websites to check and see how accessible they were. Because in the UK, there is legislation that means that all government organisations and banks and anybody that provides services to the general public has to have websites that meet the minimum criteria. And so I was very passionate about this, loved it loads. And then my children got to school age and we came back to New Zealand. And when I came back to New Zealand, it was very clear that there weren't a lot of people who knew about digital accessibility here. And so I just kept on keeping on until I started working for the Blind Foundation, or Blind Low Vision NZ, as a contractor. They had a little consultancy called Access Advisors that helped large organisations address any screen reader issues on their websites. So I was contracting for them, and then they asked me if I would like to buy the business. And so 5 years later, here I am.
Managing Director, nonetheless.
Indeed. And when I left Blind Low Vision, there was just me and a couple of clients. So there were one government client and one corporate client. And now fast forward to 5 years later, there are 6 or 7 of us, depending on the day of the week, and we work around the country and do a lot of work for different types of organisations. We do training to help people learn how to make their websites more accessible. We do reviews to find out what the problems are. We help organisations fix those problems. We do a little bit of strategy work, trying to help them include digital accessibility thinking into mainstream design processes. And we also do a whole lot of research with wonderful people from around the country who are either assistive tech users or who use adaptive technologies or who have specific access needs. And they review the websites, and then the company the client that we're working for, make sure that they get paid. So it's It's actually, I love my job. I think it's fantastic.
That's nice. I can hear it. I was going to say, what's the best thing about having a business, do you think?
Oh, okay. For me, for those of you who don't know me, I am not only the MD of Access Advisors, but I have ADHD and I have several chronic health conditions as well. And so working mainstream for other people was always quite hard for me. And I think contracting was when I sort of realized that working for myself and being able to set things up in the way that worked for me was the best thing. I, once I learned how to put things in place for my ADHD and helping me to plan and get things done, things moved a lot better. But also having the ability to pick and choose what I do and when I do it, to work in with the issues that I sometimes encounter from a health perspective has been the most amazing thing. While I do believe that there are employers out there who are very welcoming of people who have disabilities, I think that running your own business means that you are absolutely 100% certain that your employer understands the needs or the access needs, which is, that's the best thing, I think, Julie.
You are your employer. It's a bit of
Yeah.
a bit of an indictment, really, isn't it, on the employer in regards to that being self-employed. That gives you that great advantage. So I guess in the future would be great if we all employers are able to make adjustments for disabled people in the workplace.
Agreed.
Yeah.
One of the things is that we have this team of access consultants now, and one of the things that I love about my team is that they all have access needs of some description. And so I am an employer of disabled people, not only myself. We have Julius, who is blind. We have a couple of people who are also ADHD, one who's on the spectrum, one who has chronic health issues, and one who has anxiety issues. And the thing that I love about being an employer and being aware of those access needs is every morning we check in with each other. Every morning at stand up, we all check in, how are your spoons? We check in and make sure that if somebody is low on spoons for the day, that we switch it up, and so somebody else will fill in for them. Because I do believe that we do our best work when we are feeling happy and healthy, or at least we have enough spoons. And if we don't have enough spoons, then other people need to lend us theirs. So that's why we have our check-ins every morning.
Nice. And I was just thinking about the advantage that being neurodiverse, gives you. And I think I'm already seeing it. Don't even think you have to answer that question, but go for it.
Well, okay. I mean, I think that being neurodivergent is certainly allows me to see things from a different perspective. That's, the whole thing about being neurodivergent, right? Is that the way that we process information is slightly different. I do think that being able to multitask, I've got, lots of different things happening. So for me, I can juggle lots of different things, but sometimes I may not focus on the right one. And then I might hyper-focus on one and get things across the line really quickly. So I always sort of say that as long as you've got that scaffolding around you, like the supports that you need, then you can use your disability to see things in a different way and process things in a different way and find innovative ways to solve problems. And so that's what we do. None of us work 9 to 5, 7 days, 5 days a week. We flex to when we are, feeling at our best. So I think the ADHD stuff allows me to see things out of the box rather than just having to fit everything in the box, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And innovation is what business is all about, constantly evolving and innovating you can't stand still and reflect on your successes. You have to keep moving and create new ones all the time.
Yeah, and I think you're right there, Julie. I mean, I think it's about giving things a go. When you asked me, I said, why not? Because I've taken on your mantra of why not. And I think that the innovation is one thing, and the ability to actually realize that sometimes things don't always go the way you want them to. But if you can be flexible enough to find a solution that works for you, for your business, for your client, then you make it work. And I think that innovation and that flexibility comes from having to be flexible about how we live and how we get through the day, right? Sometimes, just like anybody with any kind of access needs, we've got to find alternatives. The mainstream way of doing things doesn't work, so we have to find alternatives. And I think in business, if we can't flex, then we are stuck. And I'll give you an example. During COVID, of course, nobody in the world could do face-to-face research. And so here was little old me down the bottom of the world, and people were basically calling and saying, hey, I hear you can do face-to-face research. And I was like, well, yes, I can. But there's a lot of people in the disability community who don't want face-to-face research at the moment. But there is this wonderful thing called Zoom. And so our research, our face-to-face research, we had to find a solution that worked for everyone in a situation that was very strange. And so now I do a lot of my research via Zoom, because I can get more insight from talking to somebody without having to travel to see them, without forcing them into a situation that they might not be comfortable with. So, innovation, flexibility, adaptation is something we just have to get on and do, right?
Absolutely, it's what we do. It's what we do. It's what you do, Chandra.
That's what we all do. And I think, Julie, I think one of the things that, I know about what you guys are doing, it's about connecting people as well, right? It's about making sure that the right person is talking to the right person, so that we can find those solutions. Yeah. It's a community. We have to work together to be able to make things work properly, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It's all about collaboration, which is such a good model. Yeah. In business, I'm sure you've had a lot of help along the way, people lifting you up. And so if you did want to thank someone, Chandra, who would that be?
Oh, my goodness. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking, there's been so many people along the way, but for Access Advisors, I would have to say that it has been the team. They are the ones who have taken us from, just me, all on my little own, to now we can provide support for multiple organisations, and we can, spread the digital accessibility word across. I think every single one of my team has helped me see the world slightly differently, right? So as somebody who's neurodivergent, I know what the world looks like through my eyes, but actually meeting people, working with Julius, who is blind, and watching him use his screen reader, he's taught me so much. And I've been doing this sort of stuff for 25 years. So it's not like I didn't know it, but I think the people that you meet along the way, they give you their flavour. I remember, talking to you that first time that we met 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now, gosh, and watching you do your Braille business cards, and I'm thinking, what, we all have so much to offer in various different ways, your stories and things. It's the people, right? It's all of the people that I've come across. It's all of the people with access needs. It's all of the businesses with that questioning. They want to know, they want to understand. They might come to us with a lack of awareness, but by the end of it, you hope you've given them enough to make them want to do more. So yeah, I'd have to say it's the people. The other thing I would say is that I wouldn't have this business if it wasn't for the Blind Foundation. They basically offered me an opportunity that, how could I turn that down? It's hard to start a business. And when I went out on my own, it was getting the right people to help and support and guide and collaborate and work with. I think that's the big thing. Anyone who starts out in business, right? You might be really good at what you do. You might be amazing at what you do, but running a business is hard, and you have to find the people that can support you. I'm not an accountant. I'm not very good at managing my time. There's so many parts to running a business. So yeah, it's all of the people.
It's the team.
The
team.
And the team is not just my, access advisors. It's your family, it's your friends, it's your connections, it's everybody who gives you their story and takes the time to help you and support you as you grow as a business, because it can take a lot of your time and energy, and if you don't have wonderful people around you, then it is difficult to make it work.
It's important to surround yourself with the people that want you to succeed in what you're doing.
Exactly.
And that can be a challenge too. So what's the dream for Access Advisors?
Yeah, I love that. What's the dream for Access Advisors? I think that my dream for Access Advisors is that we continue to grow and that we help more businesses and more organizations understand digital accessibility. So our core mission really is to raise awareness. It's to improve digital accessibility, the interface design. It's to advocate and make sure that people with lived experience are involved in creating digital interfaces. I think it's just more of what we're doing, and having people know that there is a place that they can come when they've got a digital accessibility question, that they've got experts that they can draw upon who have lived experience, as well as specific qualifications and certifications around what we do. We're not just making this up. I think, I just want, I want more accessible Aotearoa.
So we're going to see a bumper sticker with Think Digital Accessibility, Think Access Advisors.
Yes.
Something like that.
Something like that. But do you, I don't know, I'm going to throw it back at you, Julie. What do you think? Do you think people know what digital accessibility is?
No, I don't think they do. I think showing and sharing, and it's the power of sharing. You talked about that at the conference last year when you did the pre-conference workshop, about how you got some of the programmers in front of the disabled people and actually watching them operate with technology, and how that can change their attitude and approach to the work that they did in making things accessible.
Completely. And I think that's the thing, right? It's about awareness. I think I think that we need to raise awareness of people's differences in every way, shape or form. But I think that until people have actually seen another person struggle with some of their technology, like something they created, that is when they have those aha moments where they go, oh, you know what? I can see that this is just a normal person who uses assistive technology and they can't use the product that I made. now I want to fix it. Now I want to learn more. And I want to do that. I want to influence more people to know what it is and know how to fix it and know how important it is for so many people.
And you said about being in London and then coming back to New Zealand. I'm thinking about the importance of legislation in terms of accessibility. You've got 30 seconds to tell me how important you think accessible legislation.
I think it's vital. Unless people know that they can get told off for it, they're not going to do it voluntarily, I don't think. And I think it's a lack of awareness. I don't think that people are actively avoiding doing it. I think they don't know that they have to. They don't know how, but they don't know that they have to. And until we get legislation, nobody's going to tell them they have to.
Yeah, and
go for it.
They don't understand the impact of
Exactly.
accessibility. Yeah.
Exactly. Whereas in the UK, every single bank, every single supermarket, every single government organisation knows that they have to. And if they choose not to, then they can be sued. But by knowing that they have to, they go seeking that information. But here in New Zealand, people don't know that they should. They don't know that they could get more money from a wider audience. They don't know that they are helping loads of different people. They don't know the social impact. They don't know about the independence that it can bring. They don't understand that it could make them the better organisation than the one down the road that isn't looking at accessibility.
And have a more profitable business.
Exactly.
We've got to stop. We've got to stop, Chandra. As we got going, we've reached the end of our time together.
It's okay.
Let's be quick about how people can access advisors. Where can they find you?
They can find us online, and it's accessadvisors.nz. Real easy. Just we're at quite a few events around the world, around New Zealand, sorry. So I'm sure that you can find us. I'm also on LinkedIn and Facebook, so you can check out Access Advisors on both LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram as well.
Insta, yay. Awesome. So wonderful to have you along today, Dr. Chandra Harrison from Access Advisors. You've been listening to the My Business Stars podcast with that blind woman, Julie Woods, from the Disability Business Network. This program has been sponsored by CCS Disability Action. The Disability Business Network is the only business network in Aotearoa, New Zealand, dedicated to business owners who live with an impairment. If you are disabled, own your own business, and would love to mix with people who look like you, then join us today at the Disability Business Network. You can find us at disabilitybusinessnetwork.org, or you can contact that blind woman, Julie Woods, on 021 913 513, or email julie@thatblindwoman.co.nz. At the Disability Business Network, we believe in disabled people being successful in their own businesses and becoming business stars.
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.